Yo. Sorry, I wasn't speaking. Yo. How long have I been live for? 50 seconds. Insane. What's up, guys? I don't know if there are any mods. Let's see. Nice to see you, Pete's. I look slim. Hello, everyone. 3 ads? I don't even have ads on. I have manual ads, so it's a skill issue, I think. No more obese is crazy, man. There's a reason why you're banned, by the way. Thanks, though. Wait. 1 second, let me find the EBAB. Here we go. Please free me tomorrow. Okay, Beats, listen. Stop with the jokes, okay? Please. If you promise you're not gonna do like targeting people as jokes of any kind, I'll let you free. You have to promise me. Let me get the notes up as well. Theories. Yes, Beats, please. Let's go over the theories quickly. There's still people, I guess, waiting to come. I made a new folder so we can quickly write down theories on the go. So this is what we have so far. Klein going after Lanevus. New allies, I mean new identity is already there. Learns about Sequence 7, I think it's Magician. Force Geo joined the Data Club. Klein comes out to Azik about being alive. Azik joins the Data Club. Ince joins the Data Club without Klein's knowing his identity. We're gonna see King George. 008 has consciousness. Leonard and Klein team up, but Leonard does not know it's Klein. Some kind of canon event for Audrey. Ince plotting that advance to Sequence 3. Ince teams up with a secret organization. Klein fully digesting Sequence 7 by the end of the book, of the volume. 14. Rosell is going to mention the Grey Fog in one of his notes. Klein is going to open an active freelance business, which already is happening, by the way. So I wrote this down before it was confirmed. Klein is going to hire a teen boy, the one that he saw on the train. Mr. Door, Sequence 1 apprentice, I think, is murmuring to Force. Emperor of Thunderbolt is Death. The half insane Blood Emperor is Monster. Night Emperor of the Throne Soest Empire is Sleepless Pathway. There we go. That's it. Let's start reading. Oh my, awareness. 10 memberships. Wow. Congrats everyone who just got one. That's crazy. Thank you so much. At the start of the stream, by the way, as well. And people... That's so crazy. Thank you so much, dude. Seriously. Lack of awareness. Thank you so much, Roy. You got gifted Ian, DMA, Ankwafan, Lady, Alex, Equinox, Anuraj, this person, and Kanets. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, explanation. Let's go. Let me start recording as well. Later awareness, thank you for coming. If the fool had simply mentioned that there are some simple general knowledge contained in Roselle's diary, the hanged man Olger wouldn't necessarily be determined to pay the quote-unquote price for the answer, partly because the description of being quote-unquote simple killed his curiosity. Another aspect stemmed from his constant warnings against making trades with the fool, as it reminded him of the examples when deals were made with evil gods and devils. Someone said, I remember I was uploading the exam onto Patreon, and people were calling me Olger. Like, I overthink so much. Am I like Olger? Yes or no? But now that he knew that so-called contents of simple general knowledge, his interest was piqued. Yet he was unable to understand parts of the description, much less gain any actual or deep grasp of the concept. Therefore, he couldn't hold back his urges to ask in absolute reverence, "Mr. Fool, what kind of payment do you want?" "Yes, yes," Justice Audrey nodded her head nearly indiscriminately, but very frequently, indicating that this was something she wanted to ask as well. Although the son remained silent and didn't make any additional body gestures, the look he gave to the fool explained everything. So, interestingly enough, he's not straight out asking for like money, even though it would expose him as a fraud. But I feel like Klein can make it work somehow, like, "Oh, my blessed need money." Can he not say that? Like, "Oh, my blessed needs money," and this is like less suspicious. But I'm guessing he wants other payments as well, like info. Thank you so much again, by the way, you're the GOAT. Seriously. But you gifted it when I just started the stream, so there was no one here. The secret order. Oh, Klein, who was waiting for such a response, smiled and said, "Information regarding the secret order." The secret order, the hanged man Olger muttered to himself. He wasn't unfamiliar with this term. He had once received payment for explaining to Miss Justice about many secret organizations, including the Secret Order. Audrey and Derek both frowned subconsciously. The former's only understanding of the Secret Order was limited to what the hanged man had described, and the latter had never ever heard of such an organization. Okay. Klein had long anticipated what the son would feel, but he wasn't surprised. According to his conjecture, the area where the City of Silver was located should have been a part of the Third Epoch, after the appearance of the first blasphemy slate. And before the appearance of the second blasphemy slate, it was even possible that it was a direct catalyst of, or manifestation of, the cataclysm. The Saratur family had only stepped on the stage of history in the Fourth Epoch, and the Sacred Order was created in the latter half of the Fourth Epoch. There was no way both entities could have existed in the same period. True. It's still, like, it's an old organization. It's like, if it's like at the end of Fourth Epoch, it's at least 1300 year old, right? But the problem is with that is it's not like the oldest, so Derek will not know about it. It will surprise Klein if the son were to know about Secret Order. He will then have to overturn some of his speculations, reconstruct his knowledge of the City of Silver, the Forsaken of God, and the Saratul family. After nearly 20 seconds of silence, Algert looked at the fool in the grey fog, deliberated his words, and said, "I will accept this request and help you gather information regarding the Secret Order. Can you make a payment in advance?" It wasn't surprising that a suspected deity was interested in an ancient and secret organization, therefore Alger wasn't puzzled about it. More importantly, after many gatherings, he had a guess in his mind, which was that Mr. Fool state wasn't perfect, that he might be in a predicament, that all his attempts and the actions of his blessed on other and southern continents to help him break free from his confines. This might even be related to the huge secret of why the seven deities no longer descend upon the real world after the Fourth Epoch. A thought flashed through Alger's mind, and he shuddered as he felt himself entering the realm of the gods. I think it's difficult to understand why. I think it's because they don't need anymore, because the Orthodox gods at least are doing business through the churches, right? I guess the unorthodox gods are trying to get involved by trying to resurrect, like the Hidden Sage and also the True Creator. right? They're trying to like resurrect on this earth. But the Orthodox gods don't need to and they're still around. You know what I mean? It's a late stream, yeah. Upon hearing the hangman's request, Klein leaned back in his chair and nodded. No problem. If the information you have collected exceeds the value of the answer, I will provide you with further compensation. As for the circumstances in which the value of the answer was lacking, it is naturally up to the esteemed Mr. Fool to decide. If he has the ability to make additional payments, so be it. If not, forget it, Klein silently added. Justice Audrey's eyes lit up all of a sudden. She raised her hand and said, I want to partake in this deal. Klein laughed and replied, sure. Frankly speaking, his main target was Miss Justice because she was a local of Backland and she had mixed herself into several Beyonder circles. Her access to information in the Land of Hope far exceeded his... Land of Hope is Backland, by the way. Far exceeded his, considering it was the first time in the capital. She was also more informed than the hanged man, who was out at sea most of the time. According to the earlier revelation he received from his divination, Klein believed that the clues to Secret Order would appear in Backland and not anywhere else. The son Derek listened quietly and after some thought said, I'm willing to use the payment I reserved and exchange it for an answer. What? Use the payment I reserved. Okay. In the previous 3-way deal, he had created the sequence 8 telepathist. I was gonna say formula for sequence 9 Bard. Klein had promised to compensate him, and the choice of the time had been to save it up and prepare for the subsequent potion formulas and main ingredients. Klein nodded his head and gave an explanation that he had long prepared. The so-called similar sequence refers to how high sequence Beyonders are exchangeable with other pathways. Let me give an example. The death pathway sequence 5 Gatekeeper can not only be advanced normally... Whoa. This is info. This is very important info. Listen up, guys. So-called similar sequence refers to how sequence Beyonders are exchangeable with other pathways. Let me give an example. The Death pathway sequence 5 Gatekeeper can only be advanced normally, but one can also choose the Giant pathway, which is Gatekeeper pathway sequence 4 Demon Hunter. Okay, so Death can choose Sleepless and Giant. Okay, let me just add some temporary notes. I'm gonna copy. That's fine. This won't lead to the danger of losing control, nor will it accumulate madness. It's different from taking the wrong potion. Of course, in that similar sequence, a demi-deranged state is the best result. Exchangeable, Audrey blurted out, surprised and delighted. I wonder if any of the Tao Club members are gonna change their pathway in the future, like Audrey or something. She was surprised the sequence pathways weren't completely fixed, that they didn't need to follow the original path all the way. The price of switching wasn't being semi-deranged and never to advance again. Within the 22 paths of the Divine, there were special circumstances and sequences which were similar. So we were trying to think about which pathways are different and similar in the previous few streams. I think like a few months ago. I think we need more information on the sequence name to really like figure out, and maybe we're gonna like after volume 2 we're gonna like take all of the sequences, see what's confirmed, and then try to puzzle out everything else together, you know. And what delighted her was that she had another chance to choose again in the future. It was just like being able to select something that caught her interest at Philip's department store. It was a wonderful experience. Okay, Audrey. True. So that's how it is. Algar silently muttered to himself, suddenly feeling that he had understood several things at once, and he had resolved many of the doubts accumulated in his past experiences. This information is very valuable, as expected of Mr. Fool's so-called simple general knowledge. Is enough to shock and awe most low-sequence Beyonders and benefit from them immensely. True. That's so true. Derek, the son, was still disappointed because he had no intention of changing sequences. Oh, Derek. He wanted to be the sun that lit up the darkness and dispelled the... I'm so on board with Derek. However, quickly recalled an incident that happened to Silver. Okay, the former chief, a powerhouse who had the greatest possibility of breaking past the limitations of Demon Hunter, had built a mausoleum for himself and went deep inside, making it his home. Like going to seclusion? That's some cultivator thing. Afterwards, he appeared less and less until the main door of the mausoleum had no longer been opened. Back then, the citizens of the city of Silver Isle believed that a problem had arisen during the chief's advancement and that he had gone mad to the point of being close to losing control. He was believed to have finished himself off. Now combined with the description from the fool, the son suddenly thought of another possibility. That chief might have been attempting to advance in sequence through a similar pathway. True. Derek got confirmation for that. In none of his explorations deep in darkness, he had acquired the corresponding formula for the death pathway, and the mausoleum might have a special requirement. Oh, so that's true, because why would you build a mausoleum? Mausoleum is very comparable to like the death pathway because, you know, it's a graveyard basically. So, oh jeez, that scared me. What the fuck? Anyway, he went from sequence 5 or 6 Demon Hunter to death pathway, I guess. But in the end, he still failed. But why didn't he turn the monster? What did they encounter in the Dark Mausoleum? The City of Silver doesn't have the subsequent sequence potion formulas after a Demon Hunter. As these thoughts crossed his mind, Tarek was suddenly jolted back to his senses by Miss Justice's reserved voice. Mr. Fool, may I ask what other pathways are exchangeable with the Spectator's sequence pathway? Ooh, the Fool doesn't know. God, the Fool does not know. Sequence 4 Demon Hunter sounds pretty good. That's very suitable for me, very suitable for Justice. Others admired the first sequence name that she knew. Oh, lol. I mean, Demon Hunter is interchangeable with Sleepless and Death, unless Sleepless and Giant and Sleepless are not interchangeable, but Giant and Death is, you know what I mean? I want to know too, Klein was tempted to answer Miss Ash's question in such a manner. Before he could say anything, Audrey added in a faltering tone, I can pay for the answer to this question. How many cold pounds do you think is enough? I believe that your blessed will need a certain amount to funds of their activities. Okay, we have to cook something up. I don't think Klein is gonna lie, but let's see what he does. Having said that, she called out Mr. Fool, blessed that easily finished Pirate Admiral Chilangos, who possessed creeping hunger. Clearly, he was a high sequence beyonder, so she nearly said, I apologize, Mr. Fool, treated as though I never said a thing. However, since she had already asked, she wouldn't back down. Come on, Audrey, perhaps the Fool has a weaker blessed. Audrey quietly bit her lips, silently encouraging herself. Cold pounds, Klein thought about it seriously and said, we'll make the transaction after enough information about the secret order is gathered. As he spoke, he recalled his informant in the psychology alchemist Daxter Guderian. I mean, you can't really talk to Daxter anymore, so yeah. Captain, Aww. Sighed. Daxter's identity as an informant can no longer be verified. I wonder if it's tragedy or comedy. It's a pity that I can no longer contact him anymore, otherwise it will be the most convenient way to obtain information regarding the Spectre pathway. From him, Klein smirked. Alright, Audrey answered happily. The conversation between the two made the hanged man who was about to ask a similar question shut his mouth. He left it until he had gathered enough information on the secret order. After a brief silence, Audrey turned her head to look at Mr. Fool and raised her hand very slightly. After receiving the note of confirmation, she turned to the members opposite her and asked with a sense of anticipation, Mr. Hangman, my tip allowed you to finish Vice Admiral Hurricane. Have you prepared the complete pituitary gland of a mature rainbow salamander? That's one of the main reasons why I returned to the sea. Olga nodded gently and said, I've gotten the Beyonder material you wanted, but how should I give it to you? How? How should I be given to me? Audrey frozen for a moment as she lost herself in thought. It's impossible to just give my address, nor can I go through Xion Force that will reveal the fact that I'm a Beyonder. It's not possible. Emperor Rosell once said that we should choose the lesser of two evils. Oh my god, another fucking quote that Rosell stole, by the way. At that moment, Klein's heart stirred. He lightly tapped at the edge of the long table and smiled. Miss Sir, are you willing to cooperate with me in making an attempt regarding this matter? Interesting that he said Miss and Sir. Usually doesn't say that, right? Klein's sacrificial trial. I'm guessing Klein is gonna use the technique where you can, you know, summon things in the Grey Fog and then obviously can take it and, you know, that he learned. The goat Roselle, he's a fucking plagiarist. He stole so many things, by the way, it's crazy. Bro had zero original thought. Literally zero original thoughts from Roselle. You can call him the goat all you want. I speak facts. Let's continue. 2020. 220. What's up, RIR? Client sacrificial trial. Attempt. Justice was instantly thrilled as she noted acting reserved and elegant. I'm very willing to cooperate. As a spectator, she clearly remembered that Mr. Fool had only used the term attempt on 2 things. The first time involved bringing her and the Hanged Man into the mysterious space, and the second time was when they were given an honorary name so that they could attempt to make a prayer. And the outcome was sufficiently successful, revealing his true nature. Let's keep it up. Let's keep the 100% success rate up. What will it be this time? It's really something to look forward to. Audrey restrained her impatience and tried her best to behave as a qualified spectator. Attempt, Olga suddenly said, stop viewing the fool's proposal with utmost wariness. What does he want to do? What is his true purpose? Is this good or bad for me? Oh my god, Olga is just like me, man, overthinking everything. One by one thoughts popped up in his mind, rapidly putting appearance of Vice Admiral Hurricane Shilango surfaced in Olga's mind. Finally lowered his head and respectfully replied, your wish is my wish. Beside him, Derek looked at the Hanged Man, and then at Justice, wondering why they were so sensitive to so-called quote-unquote attempt. Klein lightly tapped his fingers on the edge of the long bronze table and smiled. This attempt will make your transaction easier and safer. It will definitely be sufficiently confidential. Olger turned even warier as he entered a state of calm thoughts. Honorable Mr. Fool, what do I need to do? He tried to figure out the true purpose of the Fool's from the process of the sacrificial ritual. Klein slightly pressed his right hand and said, like I said, this is only an attempt. It might not succeed, so it will need your cooperation. First of all, prepare an altar. There's no need to make it too complicated. It can be very simple and crude. The only requirement is to engrave or draw the symbol. As he spoke, a screen of light appeared in front of him. It was a symbol of hidden pupilless eye, and the mysterious symbol of the partial contorted line. It's the same symbol on the back of the full chair. I mean, when they're gonna get info, for example, Audrey and Olger, aren't they gonna notice that the symbol is similar to the secret organization because they're literally like looking info on them now, so they're gonna like make connections maybe and assume wrong. After previous experiments without using materials with spirituality, Klein was certain that the sacrificial ritual he designed could create an illusory cave of the grey fog similar to the door of summoning. However, the strength alone couldn't construct the stable channel, and he could only use the uniqueness of the mysterious space of the grey fog to complete the sacrifice. Therefore, he was 90% confident that the ritual would be successful. The only problem was if an ordinary passageway could be constructed using ordinary materials that contained spirituality, or did it need to be beyond their materials as well as sufficient number of them? I had mistrusted Mr. Hanged Man bear the cost of this experiment. In any case, they knew from the very beginning that the Terror Club was a product of an attempt. It can be foreseen that there will be other attempts subsequently, and failure is inevitable. Even deities are no exception. Yeah, Klein is like not worried. He's not gonna be revealed as a fraud. Don't worry, man. Klein decided to transfer the costs. As the Hanged Man, Justice, and the Sun were attempting to memorize the symbol, Klein chuckled. If you forget, you can pray to me, and then you can remember. All right, Audrey answered happily. But Mr. Fool, rituals aren't tedious and troublesome, she thought happily. The Hanged Man nodded in response as Klein continued the description. Secondly, follow the normal procedure, but there's no need to burn any more additional herbs or apply the holy oil. There's no restriction on time, just chanting my name is enough. Remember, use ancient Hermes or Jotun to recite this piece of prayer. Your devoted servants prays for attention. I pray for you to take his offerings. I pray for you to open the gates of to your kingdom. After you finish chanting, combine the materials that contain spirituality with the natural power created by the incantation and await my response. If you don't succeed in the step, change from materials containing spirituality to beyonder materials and try again from the beginning. After listening quickly to the procedure, Olger felt that his previous guess was very likely to be the truth. The fool was in a predicament. He offered alluring attempts, making attempts on the fool was in a predicament. After he offered alluring attempts, making attempts one step at a time, and planned to use himself, justice in the sun, to slowly break free of the restrictions. In the end, he might even descend into the real world. This was also the true reason why he had initially pulled people into the mysterious space, agreeing to the establishment Tarot Club. Even without this previous speculation, Olger believed that he would have come to the same conclusion after hearing the experimental procedures required after the sacrificial ritual and comparing it with the fool's previous attempts. The only thing that stumped him was the possession of powerful blessed. Therefore, there was no need for him to use himself, justice, and the sun. His blessed could make similar attempts. Fuck, he really needs to find a real companion in real life. Is it gonna be Isaac? There must be secrets I don't know about yet. The attempts will need to be sufficiently secretive, and perhaps his blessed is being watched by certain existences. Olger began contacting the thoughts. Olger is so fucking cool, man. After Klein finished describing the ritual, he asked in a low but gentle voice, "The sacrificial ritual needs a specific time. Mr. Hangman, when do you plan on making the attempt?" It was different from responding to a request which could have delayed response. The stable passage created by the sacrificial ritual could only exist for a very short period of time, so Klein had to wait above the grey fog ahead of time. The rainbow salamander picture clan is the only beyonder material I have with me for the time being. As for materials with spirituality, I do have quite a lot. Mr. Fool, once the gathering ends, I'll immediately attempt the first scenario. If it fails, I'll seek out other beyonder materials. Once I obtain anything, I'll inform you by praying to confirm a time, Olger said as he couldn't help but turn his gaze towards Miss Justice. As a spectator, Audrey instantly understood what he meant. She answered without the slightest hesitation. "If any additional beyonder materials are required, I'll compensate you afterward. Well, I can't guarantee the specific type of material you would want." As expected of the wealthy Miss Justice, the fool Klein couldn't help but sigh before chuckling. "We've come to an agreement." He looked at Justice and said, after some thought, "Once Mr. Hanged Man's attempt succeeds, I'll inform you of the bestowment ritual." "All right," Audrey was entirely confident with Mr. Fool's abilities. After answering the question, a sudden thought struck her as she realized that the exchange of money could also be done through this method. Oh, true, actually. But don't you take £1 at a time, or they're like £5 notes? What's up, Klein Stows? Done through this method. Of course, there was only if the attempt was success. I wonder if items with any spirituality will work or not. I'll ask Mr. Fool again after the attempt is successful. Audrey's lips curled as she thought for the beautiful future. With the sacrificial and bestowment topic coming to an end, she deliberated for a few seconds before saying, "Mr. Fool, I found two ladies suitable for our tarot club." Yes, Shio and Force! They're both beyonders and they have their own circle, and they're also in backland. They're also able to keep a secret and have decent personalities. Decent personalities. Are you willing to let them join the gathering? Let's fucking go. I mean, it's gonna I guess Klein will think maybe, oh, Audrey's faction or Audrey's group is gonna be too strong and will take over the club or something. The Justice wanted to strengthen her faction with the Derek Club. This was the most instinctual thought that Olger had. Derek was very interested in the matter as he looked sideways at Mr. Fool, waiting for his answer in anticipation. I think, what I feel like for the future, Klein is gonna set up interviews. Tell me, explain this gap in your CV, basically. Right? Somehow, you can't let anyone just join by word of mouth from Audrey, because maybe Force and Shio lied to Audrey that Klein can think that, right? So maybe it's gonna be like that. It's gonna set up interviews with the new people. Klein appeared to be in a bit of a dilemma. Previously had imagined that the members of the Tarot Club will know each other, but they will then develop their own subordinates, forming a relatively tight and secretive organization. This way, even if a certain member was exposed, captured, or had the spirit channeled, it won't have much of an impact on the Tarot Club. But Miss Justice's description has happened to hit his weak spot. He was hoping to find clues regarding the Secret Order and Lanebus. We're gonna kill him by acquainting himself with beyonders with different circles and resources in Backland. What's up, Lord of Gilbees? How are you doing? It's done through justice. The person involved will eventually hold back. However, I'm not sure if it is possible to pull them up above the gray fog simply by surrounding my name. In order to maintain his image, client didn't think too much and instead procrastinated on it. He said, call me. I will require a certain amount of examination. Interview time! Actually, interview time! Miss Justice use a clandestine method that won't expose yourself to let them know of my name to garner interest in them. Oh, and all this. What the fuck is a clandestine method? Kept secret or done secretly, especially because illicit. I see. I'm getting smarter. Use a clandestine method that won't expose yourself to let them know of my name and garner interest in them. When Audrey saw that her proposal was about to be accepted, she immediately responded in excitement. Yes, Mr. Fool. After a few more exchanges, the gathering came to an end. The stunned hanged man and Justice, while Klein remained in the grey fog, waiting for a sacrifice. Interesting. Imagine Force is gonna join. It's gonna be so cool. We're gonna have an apprentice and an arbiter, right? One of my theories also that Force and Cho join. I mean, it's a guess, not a theory, because there's no like hypothesis or whatever. But hopefully it becomes true. What's up, Hopeland? I think the gathering is ending, but we're gonna have the sacrifice ritual for the item to be brought up here. So yeah, let's see what happens. It's almost 2026. It's crazy, dude. It's so crazy. Let's continue, chatters. Terra Club at the higher level. Interesting title. Feels like COVID was half a year ago exactly, by the way. COVID happened last year. 6 years ago. 6 years ago. Literally, I'm gonna be fucking 80 years old in a few years, I feel like. The Terror Club at higher level. The Blue Avenger was like a leaf of the surface of the undulating waves of the Sonia Sea. At times it was raised high and sometimes low from the ebbing of the waves, but there was no sign of it being at risk of capsizing. Olger stood in the captain cabin, his back to the shelves of red and white wine, as he subsequently paced around. Finally gritted his teeth, returned to the mahogany desk with a grim expression. He removed the brass sextant, found a piece of paper and a pen, and leaned over to draw the complex, mysterious symbol given to him by the fool. With seafarer's memory, Olga quickly completed the first step of the sacrificial ritual. Then he opened a drawer and took out a candle. He set up the ritual according to the dualism principles and placed the candle above the symbol that was formed by the combination of the pupilless eye and the partial contorted lines. One candle was placed in the middle that represented the person making a sacrifice. After cleaning up all the items on the table, Olga condensed pure water in the palm of his hand, wiped the altar clean. He then used a silver dagger from the ceremony to create a ceiling wall that surrounded his desk. After doing all this, he used his spirituality to light up the 2 candles and retreated a few steps under the dim light. Taking a deep breath, Olger lowered his head and recited in ancient Hermes. The fool doesn't belong to this era. You are the mysterious rule about the grey frog. You are the king of yellow and black who wields good luck. Your devoted servant prays for your attention. I pray for you take his offerings. I pray for you to open the gates to your kingdom. This ancient incantation reverberated within the wall of spirituality, stirring up spiraling chaos as they swept forth with the force of nature. It was the oldest sacrificial language created by human beyonders, and it contained many mysteries itself. However, it lacked sufficient protection for the user. Bearing with the pain that was akin to having knives slicing across his skin, Olger took out a small dark brown glass bottle from his pocket, unscrewed the lid, and poured out a lot of sesame-shaped granules. These granules swirled in a metallic luster and executed an indescribable sense of beauty. Olger scattered these granules into the wind. Whoosh. So this is sacrifice. The gale grew stronger but was no longer tempestuous. It was dyed in 2 separate colors, silver and black. I don't think you can see all the text, by the way. Sorry about that. Let me fix it. There we go. Phantom OST? I don't know. Whoosh! The gale grew stronger but was no longer tempestuous. It was dyed in 2 separate colors, silver and black. As they continued to collide and mix, the 2 differently colored winds were infused into candle flame that symbolized the Fool, burgeoning and tearing open a leisurely ordinary-sized door. Its surface was scrawled with the same symbol that Olger had drawn. At this moment, Klein witnessed the appearance of the hazy door behind his high-backed chair. He could feel the spirituality in the air that was rippling apart and stimulating the mysterious space. It seemed to be working. Klein suddenly had a pre-motion and immediately spread out his spirituality, infusing it with upheavals and stimulation. Creak. Amidst the instructional sounds, the blurry door slowly opened. In the captain's cabin, Olger suddenly saw the illusory door formed out of the wind and light. Open behind it was deep darkness formed. If I was Olger, I'd be so fucking scared, man. Because, like, what do you mean, like, the god has opened the door for you? Innumerable number of almost invisible shadows. They were luscious splendors encompassing massive amounts of knowledge. Situated above them was a thick grey fog with the ancient palace overlooking the real world. That's so fucking cool, by the way. I can't wait to see this, like, animated. Like, I want to see inside it, you know, how the shadows are there, and, like, these are spirits, right? And then the grey fog overlooking the real world. That would be so cool. As her scene caused Olger to involuntarily tremble. It was a deep fear and indescribable excitement. He hurriedly picked up the rainbow salamander picture gland that he had long prepared. He held it with both hands, and with his head bowed, he raised the palm-sized object, which was constantly changing in color and had soft feel to the ridges to the illusory door. Olger's hands grew lighter under sudden appearance and instant disappearance of a suction force. He lost a slight tingling sensation that the rainbow salamander picture gland gave him. He didn't dare raise his head until he heard the deep voice of the Fool echoing in his ears. "You did well." "It's my honor. It's my honor," Olger answered without any hesitation. He looked ahead again only to see that the illusory door had disappeared, the gale had stopped, and the candle flames had returned to their original state. After the candles were extinguished, according to the normal procedures, Olger sat down with a complicated expression and said to himself silently, "In the beginning, only people could be pulled into the world about the grey fog. After a while, responses could be made by listening to prayers. Now, sacrifices and bestowment can be performed. Mr. Fool is freeing himself from his predicament, and once upon a time, and bit by bit, will he enter the real world." Damn, Olger, you... Only if you knew. I wonder if Olger is eventually gonna, like, find out that the Fool was sequence 9. Or maybe in the future when, like, the Fool reaches, Klein reaches sequence 3 or 2 or 1, he's gonna reveal himself and it will never come out. But I feel like the info is gonna come out soon, right? Maybe in, like, volume 4. This guess or conclusion frightened and worried Olger, but he also felt a bit of delight. At least a member of the Dark Club, one of the earliest members, he sighed. It's a bit tweaking, yeah, because he's always like, oh, what a divine being, you know, he's always glazing Klein. In the majestic palace of the Grey Fog, Klein was playing with the picture-like land of the rainbow salamander. Playing why? Various colors were reflected on his face as they constantly changed. Colors, a slight tingling sensation came from his palm, and strong sense of accomplishment filled his heart, causing him to reveal a genuine smile. Aww. It's nice to see Klein smiling after, you know, he basically lost his captain, he lost all of his friends, and also lost his family. Again, by the way, second time he lost them. Second time. In the future, Dark will become even more miraculous. After reflecting over the situation, Klein extended his spirituality and sent his will, the Crimson Star representing misjustice. Ooh, let's see! Force and Shio, maybe in the next few chapters. After returning to her bedroom, Audrey was no longer able to sit quietly off the edge of the bed. She would restlessly flip through the books of by her bed and from time to time scrutinize herself in the mirror with an unfocused gaze. She was looking forward to the completion of the hanged man's sacrifice ritual, but she was also afraid that the result would be a failure. Is she gonna advance next chapter? Maybe. She has to make the potion still. Emperor Cell had said that one must remain calm and collect it when important matters arise. Audrey came on, take a deep breath, or perhaps I should go tease the dog. Tease the dog. However, Susie can talk and think, so she's an entity with her own dignity. I mean, dogs who can't talk also are entities with their own dignities. I'm just saying, Audrey. I can just casually tease her. Audrey's mind wandered, her hand unconsciously ringing. Ringing? An ornate doll dressed in splendid clothing. After an unknown period of time, a thick grey fog suddenly appeared before her eyes, and in the depths of the fog, there was a lofty chair. Sitting there, that's so fucking cool, by the way, that she can just see into the grey fog. Sitting there, the fool said with a smile, Miss Justice, the death was successful. Have you prepared the materials that contain spirituality? That's great, as expected of Mr. Fool. Audrey forgot the hanged man's role in this matter. She held back her excitement and said, yes, I always have such materials with me. Dogs who can't talk, what do you say? Have no right? Oh, come on. Audrey had been the same even before she joined the club, but back then she didn't know which materials could be considered to contain spirituality. She had merely moved them from family treasury in accordance with the various essential oil formulas she had gathered. Klein nodded slightly and said, where do you plan on holding the ritual? This is based on the premise that there are no Beyonders around you. Does a Beyonder dog count? Audrey looked at the tightly shut door, feeling a small dog at her conscience. I can do it now, Klein tersely acknowledged. The ritual process is the same as I described previously. All you do is change the prayer to your devoted servant prays for your attention. I pray for you to open the gates of your kingdom. I pray for you to give me strength. In addition to this, use the dualism method. Audrey thought it over, finding the urge to nod, and she began preparing the ritual. The dog owner knight is right. Okay, let me see. I see, guys. I see how you are. When the illusory door opened and a scene even more illusory than the cosmos appeared. That's such a fucking... What a sentence, by the way. A scene even more illusory than the cosmos appeared. Audrey felt intoxicated in both body and mind. That will make my brain tremble, I feel like. This is the mysterious world I've always been pursuing. This is the kind of feeling I've always wanted. She praised Mr. Fool wholeheartedly. It's faith towards the goddess, but for the fool, it's worship. Audrey silently explained herself in her mind. Soon after, she was stunned to see that there was something on the altar. It was a soft object with lustrous color and filled with riches. That's the rainbow, whatever clan, right? Salamander, yeah. The rainbow salamander's rituary clan. Audrey felt a surge of joy in her heart. Her eyes lit up as she had the urge to step forward and grab it. However, her customs of etiquette took hold of her as she sincerely praised Mr. Fool once again. After finishing the ritual, she impatiently walked forward and carefully examined the Beyonder material 5 times. Our Dark Club is at higher level than all the other secret organizations. Audrey secretly felt smug. She then glanced warily at the door as if afraid of Susie's sudden intrusion. She had redouble her efforts and immediately concoct the potion to complete her advancement. Let's see, Audrey advancing. A few minutes later, she held a bottle of liquid that contained constantly changing clusters that could shine to the bottom of everyone's hearts. She confidently drank the telepathic potion and successfully died through the integration stage with the Beyonder characteristics, achieving an advancement. Let's fucking go. Wow, okay. That was so anticlimactic though, and successfully tied to the integration stage with the Beyonder characteristics, achieving the advancement. In the donghua, they will track this out probably, right? The view before her seemed to clear up significantly with a great increase in other aspects. Audrey familiar used cogitation to restrain the dissipating spirituality. After her sequence stabilized, she smiled and walked briskly to the door. Letting in the golden retriever, she saw the obvious suspicion on Susie's face. Susie was like this, There's an emote for Susie looking like that though. Wait, do I have it in my server? I don't. Do you know what the sus Susie emote? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? After her sequence stabilized, she smiled and walked briskly to the door, letting in the golden retriever. She saw the obvious suspicion on Susie's face. You took far longer than usual, Susie didn't hide her thoughts. Audrey sat down on the ottoman and Triley laughed. On the ottoman? Sat down on an ottoman? What is an ottoman? I know what an ottoman is, but let me ask. I have to ask Lucy Rem, by the way. I have to ask Lucy Rem. She knows everything. What the hell is an ottoman? And Triley laughed before changing the subject. Let's see if she answers later, man. If I Google Ottoman, I'm gonna see the Empire, no? Charlie laughed before changing the subject. Susie, tell me, how should I secretly inform Shio and Force about a particular matter without revealing myself, yet get them interested? Can you just tell Susie to tell them? But they know Susie is Audrey's dog, so it's not really secretive. Before she flinched her sentence, Audrey had begun to seriously ponder over the mission Mr. Fool had assigned her. Then she looked at Susie, and Susie looked back at her. The human and dog both fell into deep thought at the same time. After completing his goal... okay, so we're not gonna find out how. But Audrey advanced! Just like that, by the way. Audrey is now a telepathist. Wow. Okay. My girl, you know, climbing up in the world, I guess. That's so cool. Moriarty must... Klein, after completing his goal, Klein returned to reality, slept for a little more than an hour before hurrying out the door. He spent £1 to buy a pair of gold-rimmed glasses. Acting like a clown, by the way. Buying gold-rimmed glasses is so clownish! Wigs and a variety of mustaches that could be torn off and stuck on with adhesives. Oh, for disguises. They were disguises he could need later. Before dinner, he made a trip to East Borough, the most crowded area and most unsafe part of the city. He rented a one-bedroom house and the rent of 4 soli, 3 pence a week. He paid 2 weeks rent and a deposit coming up to a total of 17 solis. That's cheap as crumbs. Only then did Klein complete all his early preparations. East Borough also left a deep impression on him. Most of the streets were the same as Tingen's lower street, but the area that shared the rates was many times larger. Oh yeah, Poverty, right? The clothes of the residents were old but decent. Many of them were dressed in shabby clothing with swallow skin and thin frames. It was thought they will turn into beasts at any moment to their hunger or poverty. That's sad. Therefore, gangs ran rampant in East Borough. When he probably can pay some of those gangs, right? He can when Klein starts his business, he can probably pay those gangs to like tail and, you know, keep watch on people. When he got back to Cherwood Borough, Klein felt as he had entered heaven from hell. For the next 2 days, he experimented with using his speciality to perform the rituals and create charms. He no longer prayed to the goddess and waited for the effects of his tiny advertisements to bear fruit. On Thursday morning, Klein finally heard the doorbell ring. Oh, imagine if the first client is gonna be the little boy from the train. Remember the 15-year-old boy? The first job. Ooh, the first fucking job. Let's go. I'm so excited. Actually, I'm so interested in this business, dude. So excited. Let's see what an Ottoman is. Oh, this is an Ottoman apparently. Let's read 222. I want an Ottoman. It's so funny to say, man. It's like saying a person. I want an Estonian. I want an American. Ding dong, a rope was being tugged, causing the doorbell and the sound it made to constantly tingle, and then its sound echoing throughout the spacious but relatively empty living room. I'm guessing how Audrey is gonna, by the way, spy and Force and show it's gonna involve Susie somehow, but I want Susie to be more involved. Do you know what I mean? Like to build up Susie's character. Klein, who was seated on the sofa reading a newspaper. Oh my god. That fucking soundtrack just scares me every time. To study the various investment opportunities, suit up, he was wearing a white shirt and a black vest without a bow tie. I mean, Klein is literally cheating in this world, by the way. He has grey fog. Also, he knows what investments will work because of, you know, this world is in the past, kinda, in terms of technology. So he knows what technology is gonna work. So he can just invest in things he knows is gonna work, and just, you know, he can be richer than Duke Negan someday. The first job is my career as a detective. So that he was wearing a white shirt and black vest without a bow tie, just like the one would wear at home. The first job in my career as a detective. Imagine it's just their landlady. But they can't always be at home, waiting for a mission to arrive. Yes, I need to hang a notice on the door, along with a fountain pen, so that the clients can write down the name of their and time of their next visit and allow me to prepare in advance. However, for a new detective in this profession, without any fame, doing so would basically be the same as not having a quote-unquote next time. Ugh, I can only go through the trouble of performing divination in the morning to see if I will receive any jobs for the day, and if so, what time so as to make plans. Of course, it's also possible that I will miss out on missions from powerful beyonders. Well, so be it. It might be a good thing after all. He walked to the door, and without looking through the peephole, the image of the visitors outside appeared in his mind. One of them was an old lady in black plush hat. Her back was slightly hunched, and her waist was deeply wrinkled. Her skin was shriveled and grandma and sallow, but her dress was very formal and neat. So she's rich, right? We can tell that she's rich, so Klein can milk her from money, right? Scamming old people. Not really scamming. Not scamming. He is doing detective work. Her temples were completely white, but her blue eyes were quite lively. She was looking at the young man beside her, gesturing for him to pull the doorbell again. The young man was in his 20s, with eyes similar to those of the old lady. Oh, probably like grandson. In the progressively cold feather, they wore a black double-chest coat, a half-top hat, and a bow tie. Okay, I can imagine them in my head. And he was about to attend a banquet. It was if he won't relax his demands of himself at any moment. With the help of a clown premonition, Klein turned the handle, opened the door, and greeted his visitors with a smile before the bell could ring again. Good morning, madam, sir. What a wonderful day it is, at least up to this point, for I have already seen the sun for 5 minutes. He spoke out of the feather. Oh, he's kind of like, if he's gonna probably act like a clown, you know. He spoke of the feather in a slightly exaggerated manner. Small dog had been popular in Backland for more than a century. Yeah. Yes, it's always shy. It doesn't come out from behind the fog and the dark clouds. The old lady nodded in agreement. By her side, the lad asked, "Are you Detective Sherlock Moriarty?" "Yes. And what may I help you with?" "I'm sorry. Please come in. Let's sit down and talk." Klein turned his body to the side, making way for his guests as he pointed to the guest area. No, there's no need. I don't want to waste any time. My poor Brody is still waiting for me to save it, the old lady said with a rather sharp voice. Who the fuck is my poor Brody? It? Klein noticed the most important pronoun and suddenly had a bad feeling. Save it! Would you call a dog it? No, you will call like, save him. Like, if you love your dog, you will call him it. What, are we talking about a slave or something? The very formally dressed young man nodded and said, Brody is a cat. Oh. Waiting for me to save it. Oh, but Brody is a cat. Oh my god, this is a goofy mission, by the way. The very formally dressed young man nodded and said, Brody is a cat owned by my grandmother, Madame Doris. Ew. I hate the name Doris. I'm sorry if your name is Doris. But I hate the name Doris. He went missing last night, but I hope you can help us find him. He lives at the end of the street. Oh, saving Brody. Oh my god, what a job, man. Fucking, how much money is Klein gonna get from this? I'm gonna predict 1 measly pound. I mean, pound is a lot. I'm just corrupted by his 10 pound weekly pay. I'm guessing she's gonna offer 1 pound. Been missing last night, and I hope you can help us find him. We live at the end of the street, and I'm willing to pay you 5 solly? Of course, if you can prove that you spent more time and effort than that, I'll make it up for you. Interesting. Okay. We need to save Brody. Find the cat. This is literally like a cliche first mission, by the way. to do with a cat, you know? Why the cat? The reason why you're entrusting me with this job is simply because of the convenience stemming from how we live on the same street. You need to start somewhere. Klein felt that this wasn't the detective career that he had imagined. It makes me look like a clown. Well, win-win for you? Well, I can't turn down my first business deal. This is a serious point of view. He pondered for a few seconds and asked, "Can you describe in detail?" Sherlock Moriarty. Oh, that's so cute. True. Granny Tori spoke out before the young man could open his mouth. Brody's lovely, lively black cat is very healthy, has beautiful green eyes, and loves to eat cooked chicken breast. Goddess. Wait, can cats eat raw chicken breast, by the way? I'm pretty sure they can eat raw as well. Goddess, last night he ran off just like that. Now I must have gotten lost. I placed a lot of chicken breast in its bowl, but it refuses to return to take a look. Klein's lips curved up and said, "I'm very satisfied with your description, Mrs. Doris. I accept the request. Alright, let's go to your home now. I need to search for clues and find traces. You shouldn't be clear that the base of my reasoning lies in details, Miss Doris." Didn't consult her grandson as she nodded and said, "Oh, she really loves her cat then. You're the most proactive detective I've ever seen. It's a teal." Proactive as in like take action before things happen. Klein put on his coat and hat, picked up his cane and followed Madame Doris and her grandson out on the street. Unlike Tingen, roads in many parts of Backland had been rebuilt with the cement or asphalt. Even during downpour, the roads were less muddy. That's good. While the old lady was leading the way, his grandson came close to Klein and said in a low voice, "I hope you do your best to find Brody. It's been one of the pillars of my grandmother's life, ever since my grandfather and parents passed away." Oh, parents as well, damn. Aw, we're gonna find Brody, man. Brody is the main character. After Brody went missing, something went wrong with my grandmother's mind. So much so that she started hearing things. She keeps telling me that she hears poor Brody mewing miserably. It can be like haunted, just like how I remember in the first episode where the first volume where Tuivel was hearing the workers haunting him because he's a terrible fucking person, right? Klein immediately nodded and said, "I'll do my best, right? I still haven't gotten your name." So maybe it's something like that. But I don't think Grandma did anything wrong, right? Doris would not do something wrong. "I still haven't gotten your name." Jürgen Cooper, a senior solicitor," young man replied. "Jürgen." Soon they reached 58 Min Street, entered the dark house. That's Doris' house. "This is Brody's bowl. It's in the favorite box. He always sleeps here." Doris' wrinkled face was filled with worry and expectation. Klein squatted down and found several strands of black cat fur in the box. He straightened up and gripped his silver inlaid cane with the hand that held the cat's fur. Klein's gaze turned deep as he pretended to observe his surroundings as he silently recited a divination sentence. His hand secretly slipped from the end of the cane but didn't leave it completely. It just made it difficult for Jürgen or Doris to notice that the cane was standing on its own. Ah, I see. Soon after the black silver inlaid cane tilted to the side, he fell very slowly with a very little movement. Klein gripped... Oh, well, the cat is, right? Klein gripped the cane again, looked in that direction, observed it for more than 10 seconds. Then he strode over to an old cupboard. Imagine that cat is starved in the cupboard, by the way. That's why he keeps hearing meowing, maybe. "Any signs of Brody running away?" Jürgen asked with a concern. Old Lady Doris was also waiting for an answer. Without answering, Klein kneeled and pulled open the door at the bottom of the cupboard. Meow. Oh my god, it was in the cupboard. That's why Doris kept hearing it. Oh my god, cough up the 5 solly, man. Oh, poor woman though. Old woman didn't realize to like open the cupboard or something. A black cat started out tail high and ran for its bowl. "Brody! When did you get to the cupboard? How did you get locked in there?" Miss Doris cried, surprised and confused. Okay, I was overthinking it again with the hearing voices thing. Jürgen turned his head in surprise and looked at Klein. "How did you know it was in the cupboard?" The Klein smiled and replied in a deep voice. "Deduction, my good man. Aura. After obtaining the 5 solly reward from Mrs. Doris and Jürgen, as well as the friendship, Klein returned to 15 Min Street under the gloomy weather. It's not only about the money, by the way. It's also networking. Because he's new in Backland, Bro needs to network as much as he can. Before he even got close, he saw a figure loitering in front of his store. Oh, new client! Back to back! I mean, the advertisement paid off, or the advertisement, right? More business. When Klein looked over, he saw that the visitor was a boy of 15 or 16, dressed in old coat and round hat that didn't fit his age. The same kid on the train. I knew he was gonna come back. We're gonna hire this kid. It's him! Klein immediately recognized him as the boy he had met on the steam train that day. He had arrived in Backland. Back then he was being pursued, but his maturity and calmness at the time had left quite a deep impression on Klein. One reason the wasn't the advertisement 30 pounds, by the way, or something ridiculous like that? I remember misremembering it. What would they want to trust me with? As he wondered, Klein walked over and smiled. Excuse me, are you looking for me? The teenage boy was startled as he quickly turned around, his bright red eyes filled with unconceivable fear. Red eyes, that's rare. He composed himself and asked hesitantly, "Are you Detective Sherlock Moriarty?" Yes, Klein nodded around and added, let's talk inside. All right, the teenage boy didn't refuse. Inside, Klein didn't take off his coat, but he did take off his hat and put his cane away. He led the teenage boy to the guest area, pointed at the long sofa and said, "Please have a seat. How may I address you? What job do you have for me?" "You can call me, Lon? No, you can call me Ian." "Oh, Ian." The teenage boy surveyed his surroundings and fell silent for a few seconds. "I was previously hired by another detective, Mr. Serial Victor Lee, who helped me gather some news information." Oh my god, that's crazy. Klein is going to hire the teen boy. Bro is looking for a job to be an assistant. Sheesh, let's fucking go. Hire him, Klein. Mr. Serial, who helped me gather some news and information. Klein sat down, clasped his hands and said, "Does the job have anything to do with your former employer?" "Yes, Ian nodded solemnly. A few days ago I suddenly found myself being followed by someone with ill intentions. Therefore I thought of a way to lose their tail. I believe you saw this in yourself, Mr. Moriarty. I recognized..." What a memory, dude. What a memory. "I recognized you as the man who was sizing me up on the metro that day as soon as I saw you. This level of observational skills isn't any worse than spectators. Could it be that he was born with special ability? Or is he... maybe he has high spiritual perception, but it's not crazy, like, Adme's soul. Or maybe he's a beyonder. Maybe he's a spectator." Klein activated his spirit vision and looked at Ian, but he didn't find anything strange. Oh, maybe he's just talented. I'm guessing he's just talented then. He nodded calmly and replied, "Your response left an impression on me." Ian didn't harp on the topic and continued, "I suspect that my encounter has something to do with Mr. Serial. So I went to visit him at his place. I found the place seemingly normal, but there was many hints that indicated that someone had infiltrated and triggered all the tiny mechanisms. I haven't seen Mr. Serial since that day. I suspect that something happened to him." What if we're gonna... Okay, so this is a job for Moriarty, right? What if we find out that Serial is dead? And then we just take Ian as our, like, little, helper. All of them, I tried to call the police, but his disappearance period has yet to reach the required number of days to make it a request. I tried to help from other detectives that I knew, but all of them turned me down on the grounds that they had just met Serial at a fellow detective party. That surprised me because I didn't receive any response from Mr. Serial. When I recognized him using the cream of your method, I still stood by my judgment and didn't ask for help of a detective when Mr. Serial said no. Well, as such, that meant it will be someone I don't know either. I had no idea who to look for as well. Therefore, I could only search through the newspaper and I ended up finding you, Mr. Sherlock Moriarty. How fate works, man. I was just talking about this boy quite a lot last stream. How he has good skills. Not only is he like physically strong by like escaping, and he's intelligent, he's also very, observant. Perfect for the Klein business, detective business. Also, the cat story was cute, man. The first job is always like something ridiculous. 5 solid, the easiest 5 solid ever made, by the way. Coincidence? Yeah, but Ince doesn't know that Klein is alive, so... Coincidence? I have PTSD, man. It's fate this time. It's no coincidence. 1 second, guys. Okay, let's go. This music is so pretty. Is it? Do you like it, Nightwalker? Not Nightwalker. Do you like it, Fanber? 3 matters. Klein asked after listening carefully, so you suspect that Serial, whom detectives saw, was someone in disguise, holding his brown, round maybe it's... no, it's someone we don't know, I guess. Holding his brown round hat, Ian replied as if he had already thought about it. It's a possibility, but I think it's too difficult due to the huge risks involved. The body was at night, and it's true that the lights weren't very bright, but most of the people attending are detective with keen observational skills. Just a weak beard or cosmetic can hardly hide from their eyes. I just thought about it, by the way. I kinda low-key feel like Spectator and Seer are gonna be those pathways you can change into, interchangeable, because both of them are similar. I don't know about like the fighting abilities of the Seer pathway, but both are kinda similar though. I guess we have to see more. Just a weak beard or cosmetics can hardly hide from their eyes. Perhaps some beyond their powers can do it, just like how creeping hunger enables such ability. I was just gonna talk about creeping hunger, but I don't think it's similar to creeping hunger, or someone is very good at disguises. There's a little trap in Klein's question. He wished to determine from the teenage boy's answer, the expression of his face and his body language, to determine if he had ever come into contact with Beyonders, or if he knew about things about mysticism. The initial answer was no. When Ian saw Detective Moriarty nodding slightly in agreement with his reasoning, he continued. I believe that the detective saw Mr. Serial, but he wasn't free. He was in a controlled state in which he couldn't send out distress signals. Possessed, the reason why he wasn't responding to my attempts to liaison with him is to probably signal to me that he needs help. A reasonable explanation. Klein realized his clasped hands and sat back a little, making himself look more relaxed and confident. This job is gonna pay a lot of money, bro. I'm guessing the kid doesn't have any money though. Like, how much money is the 15-year kid gonna have? Ian fell silent for about 10 seconds before he said seriously, I'd like to entrust you with the task of investigating Mr. Serial and determine his current condition. All I need is confirmation. Considering that Ian was semi-professional who had gathered intelligence and information for a detective, I had no intention to make his acquaintance. He smiled and said, then how are you going to pay? You should be well aware that this may be very dangerous. I'm gonna call it right now. We're gonna find out that Serial is dead, and for payment, he's gonna become our little slave. No, our little helper that we can pay, of course, salary to. That's what I think is gonna happen. Ian looked down at the pocket of his old coat and said after some deliberation, there are 2 ways... some deliberation, there are 2 ways. The first, I can directly give you a payment that's enough to satisfy you afterwards, regardless of whether the mission is simple or difficult. That will be all unless you suffer a relatively serious injury. It's smart, by the way. Also talking a lot for his age about, like, very good talker for his age. Secondly, I could pay you £5 in advance. Oh, do you have that? And when you finish the job, you can add to the bill depending on difficulty of the matter, but it's easy to cause a dispute even if there's a contract. Klein pretended to be in thought. After almost 30 seconds, he said in a low voice, why don't we do it this way? You can pay me £5 in advance and help me with 3 things. Or like 3 matters. After the mission is completed, don't worry, they won't be anything difficult, then they will be within your capabilities, and it won't make you feel too uncomfortable. This can be agreed upon in the contract. Interesting. Ian knitted his brows before standing up. He leaned forward and stretched out his right hand. All right. Klein shook hands with him, pulled out a standard contract that he had prepared, picked up a ground fountain pen, added all the details he had discussed, and stamped it with his fingerprint. Let me put the music again. After signing the contract, he gave the teenage boy Ian a stack of white paper and watched him write detective serials relevant information. After a while, he browsed through the information and casually asked, "How can I contact you if there's an emergency or if I confirm serial's condition?" Ian pursed his lips and remained silent for quite a while. Only when Klein looked over did he reply in somewhat stiff manner. "You don't need to contact me. I will appear at the right time." I will appear at the right time? Who is this mysterious boy? Without another word, he took out a thick stack of cash from the pocket of his old coat. They seemed to be stacked up in a very neat order, from high face value to low face value. Why do I feel... Okay, this is my prediction where he got the money from, by the way. Listen up, guys. Remember he was being chased by a couple of, like, thugs that, you know, people who are usually in gangs? That's what the client said, not me. What if... And listen to me. What if Ian stole money from gangs, and obviously gangs can't report it to the police because it's like dirty money, right? And that's why the gangs were running after Ian. And that's how he's able to pay Klein. Another word, he took out a thick stack of cash from the pocket of his whole coat. They seemed to be stacked up in a very neat order, from high face value to the low face value. Ian pulled out three £1 notes from the bottom, counted 6 5-story notes, and finally 10 1-story notes. When Klein saw that Ian had neatly arranged the notes with even portraits of the former kings facing up without a single mistake, Klein suddenly felt a bit frustrated. This is some late-stage obsessive compulsive, like OCD. Silently exhaled and received the payment from Ian. According to this visual estimate, Ian had less than £3 left. He probably had all his savings with him. Or savings, that also can make sense. If I had asked more, would he pay on me without playing? He doesn't look like a kind of person to do so. But one should judge a book by its cover. Klein folded the pins at random and stuffed them into his pocket, ignoring the untidiness. As such, he succeeded in seeing Ian's slightly twisted expression. "I'll try to complete the investigation as soon as possible." Klein stood up and held out his hand as a gesture of bidding him farewell. "Thank you for your help," Ian thanked him sincerely, because the counter offer was obviously a discount. Watching the boy, who was more mature than his age, leave, Klein stroked his chin silently and said to himself, "This matter goes deeper than it seems." Ian didn't... This probably has beyond their involvement, by the way. Ian didn't mention anything but Serial's recent investigations or what information he had been instructed to gather. "Forget it. I handled as much as the money is worth. All I need to do is confirm Serial's current condition." He turned around and walked back into the living room. While doing so, he fished a quarter pence out of his trouser pocket. Bing! The copper coin fumbled in the air. Klein's eyes turned dark as he muttered if there were any beyonder elements in the case he was handling. "Let's see. I think so." Then he opened his right hand and tried to catch the copper penny. Clang! The coin slipped from his fingertips and fell to the ground, rolling away. The result meant that divination had failed. As in, like, no answer, but failed. The looks of it, Ian has withheld more things than I thought. The information is so lacking that I can't even obtain a vague divination result. Interesting. Did it fail because of that? Or maybe someone is blocking you from doing divination? I think it's what Klein said, though. He pursed his lips, took a few steps forward, and bent down to pick up the coin. I can't overthink like Olger, man. People are gonna call me Olger all the time. But, that night in the wee hours of the morning at 138 Rose Street, Klein had changed into a cheap light blue workman's outfit. Oh, in the slums. His mouth, chin, and cheeks were covered with a black beard that, at first glance, made him look rough and savage. Oh my god, does someone have art of him having a thick black beard, by the way? He wore a dark-colored cap and pressed it so low that it nearly covered his eyes. Such caps originate from the Indies Republic hunters. There were certain differences from the traditional deer hunting caps that Lowen Kingdom hunters wore. However, such caps had become popular among the lower class populace at Packland. I see. Hiding in the shadows of Inti's parasol tree by the side of the road, Klein sighted the house across the street with the aid of an elegant gas lamp. It was Serial's home. Detective was from Southville. His parents, relatives, and friends were all there, and he had come to Packland alone, where he slowly forged a name for himself. He was still a bachelor and had only a bachelor as in single, right? And only hired 2 temporary maids that kind of came by every 3 days to clean up the place without needing to provide them with food or lodging. At the moment, the Duran's house he rented was pitch dark. Klein took off the silver chain inside his sleeve and let the topaz pendant hang down naturally. There's danger inside. There's danger inside. After repeating it 7 times, he opened his eyes and saw the spirit pendulum spinning clockwise. Oh, but very slowly. Oh, so like danger, but like danger that we can deal with easily. There's danger, but it's nothing serious, Glenn muttered, and once again confirmed that he had his cat card, self-made charms, and holy night powder on him. After doing all this, he looked around and taking advantage of the stillness of the night, he nimbly rushed across the street. There was no veranda, garden or lawn. As it directly faced the edge of the street, Klein went around to the side and easily climbed up the water pipe to a small balcony on the 2nd floor. Funny imagining Klein like climbing with the fucking beard on. On the 2nd floor where clothes could be hung out to dry. Immediately following that, he took out the dark card and slid it through the crack, opening the door to the corridor. Following Ian's drawing of the house layout, Klein walked almost soundlessly to Cyril's bedroom. He lightly tapped his left molar and activated spirit vision through the wooden door. He looked inside. Kang, maybe? Spirit vision could see aura colors through obstacles without spirituality. However, it was highly dependent on the abilities. Currently, Klein was able to observe through wooden doors, but was stumped by concrete walls. Furthermore, the scenes he could see weren't too clear. In his vision, he saw 3 humanoid auras in the bedroom behind the door. The colors were blurry and were located in different locations. Probably non-beyonders, right? There are 3 people lying in ambushes to capture Ian or someone else. The bedroom isn't that big. Klein stood in darkness, calmly considering the result of his observations. At the moment, suddenly retreated towards the balcony while keeping his footsteps very light. Back at the balcony, Klein took a thin silver slice from his pocket. It was a slumber charm that he had created in an attempt to during the afternoon. He didn't pray for the Devon goddess, but to himself instead. Oh, Chad. He held a ritual in the name of the fool that doesn't belong to Sarah, the mysterious rule about the grey folk, the king of yellow and black, who builds good luck, therefore entering the world about the grey folk to respond. Since this method was difficult to mobilize the power of the mysterious space out of the grey fog, Klein could have used his own spirituality to respond. The charms that he made in the end were worse than normal, but better than the ones he had made in his own name. Okay, I see. After surveying his surroundings again, Klein covered his mouth and whispered a word in ancient Hermes, crimson. Feeling a chill on the charm, he moved quickly but silently to the door of Cyril's bedroom. Again, as if he held the candle, as he held the handle, he injected spirituality into the thin silver lice. Klein carefully twisted the handle and opened a tiny crack in the door. Immediately after that, he threw the slumber charm inside. Pulling back his arm, Klein closed the door again and began counting. 3, 2, 1. He abruptly pushed open the door and rolled on the ground. Oh my god, let's see this like invasion. Like, you know how like FBI open up? Klein is the FBI. Not sensing any movement. Are they dead? When the 3 people, Klein stood up and using crimson moonlight shining through the window, began observing the room. It was normal. Oh, he made them sleep, I guess. So that means they're just normal people, right? Made them slumber. Not sensing any movement from the 3 people, Klein stood up and using the crimson moonlight shining through the window, began observing the room. It was normal furnished bedroom with a bed and a row of closets and desks, sets of sofas and coat rack. On the other side of the bed, a man in a black coat was sleeping soundly. Nice. Like, I don't know how to do sleep sounds. Like, no. In addition to that, there was one person by the side of the sofa and another in the front of the closet. All of them were asleep. They were like there to like, you know, get a jump on, what was his name again? Cyril. But, you know, Cyril is not around anymore, apparently, so I don't know what they were doing. As we were confirming the trio's condition, Klein walked toward the bed and went down to find a few short yellowish brown hair. Oh, is this Cyril's hair? According to what Ian had written, Detective Cyril... Is it Ezreal? Is it like Ezreal or Cyril? Ezreal? Is it like Ezreal from League of Legends? Was a man with short yellowish brown hair. Ezreal does in the game also have yellowish short brown hair. This shall be right, Klein whispered. He grabbed the few strands of hair and sat down on the sofa. He slowly sat in the darkness, stained by a crimson light, and planned on using dream divination to find Cyril. Leaning back against the back of the sofa, the corner of his mouth curled up as he made a self-deprecating comment. Deduction, my good man. My good man. I guess maybe he's dead. Why is Aphelios so OP? He's not OP, he's just need to have brains to play him, and people can't counter Aphelios. That's why. Anyway, it's also late game champion. If you like kill Aphelios in early game, It's not going to be broken. Anyway, so Ian gave us a job. Also, Klein gave us a job, but Ian is the one that gave us like a real dangerous job and an interesting job where Israel, his previous like employer, detective, has gone missing. Apparently appeared in the detective like hangout, and Ian says that it might be someone possessing Ian or someone who like the disguise of Ian. Israel, possessing Israel, not Ian, possessing Israel, and also, or disguised as Israel, or Serial, whatever. Anyway, these three people in the bedroom were, of course, like some normal civilians, maybe part of gang. They're waiting for Ian, not Ian, maybe they're waiting for Israel, because they're in Israel's bedroom. I guess we'll see what Klein saw in the dream, so let's go. 224. Mystic type detective. Interesting. Mystic type detective. Quadro Gil. I only play Arena. Arena is better. I changed my mind, man. I changed my mind. It's because Rift games take too long, man. I have no time to play Rift anymore. And Rift is addicting as well. It's like you need to one more. And then you get nothing done in a day. Anyway, Mystic type detective. The dim room was covered in thin veil of crimson moonlight and everything was instinct. Three men in black coats were sleeping in different spots, and on sofa, Klein's eyes half blended into the darkness by closing them. It was as if he had entered a deep slumber. His dream was grey, distorted world, occasionally flashing with brilliance. Finally, the brilliance held to form a scene. Let's see the scene. The gloomy corner, the ground sloshed with sewage. A man with short brown hair and a white shirt and a brown vest was leaning against the wall, surrounded by dense mischief of grey rats. Half of the man's lips had been bitten off. Ew! Revealing his yellowish teeth and rotten gums. Oh, he's dead. And also only stained with blood, mixed with some sort of hairs, and the flesh on his face had disappeared. Piece by piece revealing white bone. White fat maggots were crawling around everywhere. Oh, God. Constantly skirming in his throat seemed to have been the victim of some wild beast. At least half of it was missing. Obviously, this was like a murder, right? Right? There was a murder. It's fed it to some beast. Klein could barely make out that this was serial Victor Lee. It was nearly impossible to relate him to the mature and handsome man in the black and white photograph he had taken with Ian. Serial is already dead. It's called it, by the way. In a few days, he will probably be known to the point where he would only be bone. He might even be a complete skeleton left. Obviously, rats have been eating him, right? Klein left the dream and recalled what he has just seen. His past experience had allowed him to witness similar corpses more calmly. Looking out the window at the crimson moon, Klein thought for more than 10 seconds and decided to try communicating with the soul of the man in black next to the sofa. Oh, but this guy's just sleeping. Can you still do that? During the last few days of preparation, he had concocted a bottle of Amantha extract and ayahuasca spirit meditation. And as for Serenity Agent, Klein had no need for it. He was personally capable of evading the dreams. Oh, okay, that's what he meant. Like what he did with what's it called, Hugh Dugan. Capable of evading the dreams of others and forcefully communicating with the souls while maintaining calm and rationale. Setting up a simple altar and letting the quiet and tranquil fragrance waft out to create a half-dreaming state, Klein prayed to himself. The fool doesn't belong to his era. Praying to yourself is so aura, by the way. Following that, he entered the world of the Grey Folk and used more than two-thirds of his spirituality to give a response. When at 1 sequence 7, such prayers should also allow me to use a little of the power of the mysterious voice space about the grey fog, just like my summoning and bestowment rituals. Looking around, Klein made a rough judgment and quickly returned to the real world. He passed through that seems like a starry sky and chaotic storm of thoughts, mentoring the mental plane of the target. There he saw the man, illusory figure floating in midair. Who sent you to Serial's home? So if Serial was already dead, why would they send them in? Or they were like waiting for Ian maybe? Klein looked at him and asked in deep voice. The man replied in daze, his illusory eyes vacant, mirror salt. Mirror salt sounds so familiar. So they were waiting for Ian. That fucking name sounds so familiar. No, not because of Admi's soul or whatever. I guess because of Admi's soul, maybe. Mirror salt. Mirror salt sent me to wait for the boy named Ian. Yeah, Ian. That's why I was running away earlier. Maybe they didn't steal the money then. Light in the spiritual world changed, revealing a lean, capable-looking, dark-skinned man. Oh, from the southern continent, maybe? He was none other than the leader of the group who was chasing Ian on the steam train. Ah, there we go. I'm guessing he's a Beyonder. Especially it's him. What's his name again? Mirror salt. I'm gonna copy this text right here. As expected, it's him. Klein, who had exhausted so much of his spirituality in responding to the prayer, was beginning to feel exhausted. He hurriedly asked, who ordered mirror salt? No idea, he's an executioner of our Smanger. Executioner sounds like a... executioner, low-key, sounds like a sequence. Imagine being like sequence, I don't know, 6, executioner. So much aura. I'm guessing it's like an execution, as in like, not a sequence, but yeah, as a nickname. Of our Smanger gang. No one can order him other than the boss, the man said blankly. Oh, he's not the boss, he's like the higher up, not the boss. Smanger, the word warrior, in the language of Highlanders. Oh, Highlanders. Okay, so that darker skinned man is also from the Highlands, like that one guy that wasn't trained. Klein, a pseudo-historian, but a true mystic scholar, suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head and body. Simultaneously flew out of the storm of thoughts. Oh, because he's exhausted, right? Okay. So Smanger is like a warrior gang, I guess. I wonder if they're Beyonders. Not long afterwards, he exited the mediumship and left his head throbbing. He was not ready to leave. He methodically packed up the materials and the short yellowish brown hair before opening the oriel window and let the cold night wind disperse the smell of the mantha extract and the eye of spirit medication. While this happened, Klein turned to the balcony, locked the door inside and wiped off all the places he had touched. When Serial's bedroom returned to the original state, he then held his hands to his chest and bowed towards the 3 men. Oh my god, like a clown! That's so much aura! But like the clown was doing when he was fighting beyond Nighthawks. His hand just and bowed towards the 3 men who were still sleeping soundly. Imagine getting emoted on by fucking Klein. Straightening his back, Klein brought his gloves and leaped nimbly, flipping out the oriel window. He stood firmly, tiptoeing in the abnormally tight space. Bro is such a fucking cool... Like, Klein is acting so cool. He raised his open window, vertical latch, and used the tire car to hold its bottom. With his clown abilities, he took out the details and adjusted the balance. After a few seconds, Klein slowly pulled back the card, and the vertical latch suddenly stopped in place and didn't fall further. We didn't get the boss name though. So there's a Smanger gang. I'm gonna copy this as well. There's a Smanger gang who are called that warrior gang in like ancient Highlander language. Or not ancient, in the warrior of the Highlander, in the Highlander language, not ancient language. And also Mirror Salt is the executioner of that gang. I'm guessing... okay, it's easy to figure out what happened. Israel had like a job from a person. Israel was investigating the Smanger gang, found out some dirt about them, was reporting to the police or something, and they stopped and executed Srial. And they also wanted to get Ian because Ian knows about them as well, but they couldn't get Ian. That's why. Now probably going to go after Klein when they find out Ian is with Klein, I'm guessing. And then we're gonna find out that the boss of Smunger gang is like a Beyonder, and also maybe the Mirror Salt guy is also a Beyonder, right? After a few seconds, Klein slowly pulled back the debit card and the vertical latch suddenly stopped in place and didn't fall further. Whoosh! First he closed the unlatched hatch of the window, then he jumped over the window with a latch. His right hand jerked inward, closing the other half of the window. The speed of the action was quick that the latch didn't fall down until there was vibration, accurately inserting itself with the matching hole. Serial. Oh, serial. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Clang! A sound that was difficult to eliminate rang out, the strong wind slamming onto the surface of the glass. Klein knew that the 3 men in the bathroom were about to be awakened. Without further ado, he jumped on the street. For the current him, the height from the second floor wouldn't pose any danger. It was just that he couldn't maintain his silence when he landed, so he didn't make any obvious noises. Klein quickly left the vicinity as well as Rose Street, but he didn't directly take a rental carriage back to Sherwood Borough Main Street. Oh, he didn't want to take the rental carriage because he didn't want the carriage driver to be like asked and then snitch out Klein, right? But it's easier to track when he takes the carriage. He turned a few corners and headed back to neighboring Eastborough. Smart. It was a cold night and the wind sent a biting chill right into his bones. Klein shivered and decided that he will need additional sweater for his future missions. He decided to buy charcoal one of the following days and let the fireplace carry on its role. After an unknown period of time, he entered Blacklands Eastborough. Despite not having a map, he had completely relied on instinct. Oh my god, so fucking smart, dude. There were only a few gas lamps to be seen in distance, and it wasn't for the fact that the dark clouds had covered the crimson moon. Klein believed that many parts of the road would be pitch black. As he was walking, suddenly saw pairs of eyes appear in the deep darkness in front of him. Oh, isn't Ian maybe? Darkness in front of him, they came stooping from a distance. They sauntered over from a vague distance away in silence. Living corpses, Klein came to a sudden halt. No? Really? He reached out for his Requiem charm and tarot cards and quickly activated spirit vision. He saw the unhealthy and weak colored auras. Is it the same 3 people? Did they like turn? And lost control? But they're just civilians, how can that be? Did merit salt do something on them? These were all living people, normal living people with numbered expressions, vacant eyes and weak movements. They were both men and women. Oh, never mind. What the fuck is happening in the slums of Backland? It's almost midnight. Why are they still working on the streets? Confused, Klein barely leaned by one side, passing the group on the sidewalk, but soon he came across a second wave, a third wave, all of them had the same pain amidst numbness. He frowned slightly, and just as he was about to move forward to inquire, suddenly heard the shout ahead. Get up! Oh, they're like kinda overworking them, right? Prisoners? Get up! Oh, so it's women and children. Were there children? Women and men. Olive, get up, you sons of bitches. The river and parks aren't for people like you to sleep in. Oh, they're homeless people. Damn. They're homeless people, man. What's up, Shira? You just come or were you always here? Sarah, sorry, but not Shira, Sarah. Homeless people. Klein was startled, then the corresponding term poor law. Oh god. It's like anti-homeless law, it's so stupid. Popped up in his mind and understood what was going on. He had experienced the same thing himself. Yet true, remember when the police officers were like, you can't sleep here? Klein exhaled, picked up the pace and headed for his own bedroom house on the Black Palm Street in Eastborough. There he slept for 2 hours. After recovering some of his spirituality, he went out again and broke a withered branch to serve as a dowsing rod. The location of Serial's corpse. After repeated divination, Klein walked for a long time with the help of the short yellowish brown hair until he arrived at the corner of Eastborough where there was a sewer entrance. Several years ago, the Great Plague, the Lower Kingdom gradually built up an advanced sewer system in the capital. There was a plague 12 years ago. Oh, I remember reading about that, right? C is real. Cereal. Related, sorry. 12 years ago, after the Great Plague, the Kingdom actually built up the advanced sewer system. Smart, because you don't throw poop in the street. In the capital, in the in one fell swoop, suppressed Roselle's heritage of the Intis Republic. Good. Fuck that fraud, Roselle. Moving the manhole cover out of the way, Klein held his breath and climbed down the vertical middle stairs. Since his clothes weren't specifically made, he was unable to bring too many items due to the lack of pockets. He hadn't brought Quilax oil, which he had learned about Fry. Quilax oil. Felt especially regretful for not having brought the refreshing and odorous smelling Quilax oil. Yeah, because it smells like shit down there. Then, seconds later, Klein's feet touched the sticky ground. The feeling of filth caused fine goosebumps to pop up over his body. However, he could only endure it and continue walking forward, venturing deeper into the empty and quiet sewer. There was a fork in the road ahead, one which was relatively hidden, a thick bunked smell wafted over from there. Klein turned around and walked to the end, where he saw a tense number of spirituality light dots and aura colors. Without needing to use a candle, he activated spirit vision and directly saw that in the dark corner there was rotten corpse that had been bitten to pieces. Ew! It says cereal. This was the exact same scene he had seen in Dream Divination. Squeak! The dense-packed grey rats scampered in every direction. Oh, the rats were eating it, man. But there were also some who stayed where they were, unwilling to leave and part with their food. After confirming it was cereal, Klein hesitated for a moment before quickly setting up a mediumship ritual. If there was nothing wrong with Ian's description and Serial died only a few days ago, I should be able to get some rough information by channeling his spirit, he thought confidentially. As the wind swirled in the walls, spirituality was set up, all the rats fled and Klein proceeded with his spirituality as he had done before. The cause of Serial's death. As he recited the words, Klein's eyes turned black, his pupils and the whites of his eyes disappeared. He quickly used cogitation to enter a dream. However, nothing appeared in that misty illusory world. Oh! Klein opened his eyes, frowning slightly as he made his judgment. I guess a long time has passed. The channeling failed. Someone has dealt with Serial spirit. Oh, Beyonder. See? Beyonder was involved in this. I told you. I think... not Admiral Soul, sorry. Mailed Soul? Oh, my fucking god. What was his name? Mayor Salt. Is a Beyonder or the Smanger gang boss. One of those two. I'm guessing because Mayor Salt is the quote-unquote executioner, it has to be Mayor Salt, right? Like I predicted. The fact that someone was able to disguise a serial, making the other detectives unable to see through him, also proves his point. After some deliberation, Klein came to the decision it was to end this matter here and not get involved any further. Regardless, he had fulfilled the requirements of the job that he was entrusted with. I'll get Ian to call the police, he muttered as they put away the materials and remove the wall of spirituality. I mean, calling the police, are they actually gonna go after Klein? Like Kang, sorry? I guess so. I kind of feel like Kang got a lot of influence. You know? They're not that easy to deal with. Because there are like a lot of them. Let's see what happens though. 225. Thank you for coming to the late stream, by the way. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoy your stay. We're gonna continue in a second, guys. What's up, Nightwalker? Yeah, after this, after a few chapters. I've been reading a lot recently. Because I'm so fucking, like, hyped for the future of this volume. And other volumes coming. Because I'm completely blind and it shows my excitement, I feel like. Okay, let's go. Klein backed up from the fork in the bath without touching Serial's corpse. Thump, thump. Suddenly, a sound echoed in distance. Oh, someone's coming! Oh, executioner maybe? The three goons of the gang earlier reported it maybe? Suddenly, a sound... I'm guessing they shouldn't remember Klein's involvement, but maybe they did somehow. Through the through the empty sewers. Klein listened for a few seconds before decisively retreating towards the exit down the dirty concrete road that ran along both sides of the sewage canal. There was no need to take risks in matters that didn't involve him. Klein closed the iron manhole cover after he climbed out the sewers. After ensuring that the surrounding area looked normal, he returned to his rented room in the Sparrow and changed out of his disguise. Then he put on his gold-rimmed glasses, walked to another street, took a rented carriage, and returned to Cherubwoodboro. In the silence and cold of 3 in the morning, however, he didn't return to Main Street. Then climbed under a huge detour, and only after confirming that no one was following him did he enter his house. He slept till dawn. I was woken up with a doorbell. So, no idea who it was, right? But I'm guessing it's to do with Serial's murder, because it has been a few days since he's been dead, unless like homeless people live in the sewer, which they sometimes do, right? He said immediately, put on his shirt, buttoned his vest, and hurried down to the first floor to open the door. Is it the landlady or Ian? My bet's on the landlady, man. And even before that, his premonition abilities, Clown had already capable of naturally forming the image of the visitor in his mind. Oh, the visitor was wearing an old coat, a brown round head. Oh, it's already Ian. And the tattered satchel, he had bright red eyes, a delicate face, and a quiet temperament. He was none other than Ian, the teenage boy who had come to entrust him with the job yesterday. Good morning, Detective Moriarty. Ian greeted him and had looked around. Any progress? Yeah, I'm only asking because I happened to pass by. I feel like Ian saw everything. Like, was Ian actually like maybe spying on it? I nodded and applying on the progress and said yes. Ian seemed shocked as he didn't say a word for quite a while. After a while, he stammered in surprise. Have you determined Mr. Serial's condition? Yes, Klein paused for a moment and said seriously. I found Serial's corpse. Corpse? Ian's pupil shrank as he repeated in a low tone. Aww. Wasn't too surprised as he had already expected the worst possible outcome. Klein watched silently without interjecting. Ugh, Ian. Ian exhaled and warily surveyed the surroundings. I feel like we're gonna hire Ian now. Your efficiency is amazing. Can you take me to see Mr. Serial's body? No problem. In fact, that's what I was planning to do. Klein then thought for a moment. I feel like the body is calm when they reach there, right? Before saying, I hope you don't mention me when you call the police. You say you found the corpse yourself. I believe you know how to make up a reason. Ian wasn't surprised. He knew that not every detective liked to deal with the police. In fact, except for the very famous detectives who often gave advice to the police with mutual cooperation, the rest were discriminated against, just ostracized and even extorted from. Yeah, because they take like police job and not all detectives are like qualified. So detective business is a very weird one. I don't know if it even is a business nowadays. I think maybe it's illegal, but I don't know. I think they're private detectives, but what can they even do, right? Just the current situation, the Long Kingdom. Alright, Ian steadily agreed. Considering that they were entering the sewers, Klein changed to a set of clothes worn by the common looking class, put on a deer hunting cap, and took a lantern with him. Both of them took the public carriage on the Sparrow. They walked for half an hour to reach the remote sewer entrance under the watchful cages filled with numbness and malicious intent. How did you find it? Ian asked, half surprised and half curious as he watched Klein lift the manhole cover and climb down. Klein focused on the area beneath him and answered casually. Skillful training, which includes many techniques in reasoning, investigation, tracking, and interrogation. True. Ian followed him in the sewers. He nodded without looking disgusted. You seem to have received very professional training. Klein didn't answer him directly. He held the already lit lantern, led Ian to the fork in the path where he arrived in a gloomy corner. He narrowed his eyes and approached Serial's body. Serial's body was missing. Okay, so the rats have been eating, so they didn't move his body. Okay, maybe it wasn't the executioner then. Now then, compared to the previous night, he was missing an arm and half of his ribs. That's not something a rat can do. Rats don't eat bone, because Klein was like, oh, on cheating cases. I don't know why your message didn't come up in the YouTube chat case, but I see it in the stream. Anyway, what did I want to say? Yeah, true, actually, true. What I want to say is, rat shouldn't eat bone. Even Klein said like only bones are gonna be left. So what the fuck? Are there some like other monsters down here, or maybe it's like some cannibal? Homeless people? No, they won't eat bone either, right? Maybe homeless people made stock, like human stock for a soup. It's not something that can do, Klein muttered to himself and then informed Ian of this. With the help of lantern light, the owner was able to clearly see the corpse's appearance. I mean, the mystery is not over yet. Is this still something to do with the Kang? He squatted down, suddenly vomited. Oh. She got down, suddenly vomited and gradually vomited the yellow-green bile. Klein took out the Cadillac, soilly prepared, unscrewed the cap and bent over to place the mouth close to Ian's nose. Ian's eyes lit up and he calmed down. Nearly 20 seconds later, he weakly whispered, "Thank you." He stood up slowly and examined the mutilated corpse a few more times. Maybe the reaps were taken as like beyond their ingredient. That's maybe some potion requires human reaps or something. Again, confirmed deceased, Detective Serial. My condolences, Klein replied out of politeness. I suggest you call the police. Okay, Ian nodded indescribably and as he followed Klein back to the surface. At that moment, Klein clapped his hands. What the fuck, Klein? Don't do that. This end of mission as for what should be done after this is up to you. Ian fell silent for a few seconds. I still owe you 3 batters. You get me now? Actually, I can only think of one at the moment, Klein answered frankly. I want to know where I can get gun and bullets without needing a full class weapon permit. That's dangerous, bro. Ian spoke almost without thinking. Fucking Ian already knew, man. Go to Braveheart's bar at Iron Gate Street and Backland Bridge. Directly find Kasper's Kalinin. Tell him old geezer introduced you. Okay, you're not that old geezer, Ian. Who's the old geezer, huh? Alright, let's talk about other 2 matters in the future. I have a feeling that we'll meet again. Klein deliberately nodded casually. Oh. See, she's our Ian is our little errand boy. Alright, let's talk about the other 2 matters in the future. I have a feeling that we'll meet again. Ian gave him a look, didn't say anything. The 2 split up and head down different streets. In the Esporo, they saw that spot once again regained silence. After walking for a while, Klein suddenly turned around and retraced his steps. They then hid himself in a circular corner, peeking at the entrance to the sewer. After waiting for 2 or 3 minutes, he saw Ian return silently as he looked around warily. Klein withdrew his gaze in a manly manner, leaned his back against the wall and listened. Okay. He heard the clapping sound of the manhole cover being removed and heard someone climbing down. Carefully poking his head out, Klein discovered that Ian had re-entered the sewers. Was there a clue or something on Serial's body? Indeed, this matter goes deeper than it seems, he looked thoughtfully. Having satisfied his curiosity, Klein decided to leave for real and planned to seek out Kasper's 2 days later. Interesting, Ian. That's so sad, man. Like, Ian has no job now. Viscount Clint! Oh! Long time no see, Mr. Apothecary. In his home situated in Empress Borough. I love me some Clint. The door to the study was slightly shut, when 4 people inside from the participating quests. The salon outside. Chio? Chio Force is the reward due if you... Chio Force is the reward the 2 of you deserve. Dressed in pale yellow lace dress, Audrey pushed a bulging envelope across the desk of the 2 ladies sitting opposite of her. Remember, Audrey still needs to secretly communicate about the fool. She wanted to say something polite, but her hand had reached for the envelope faster than her mouth. She's gonna become a sheriff, isn't she? Feeling the weight of the money, she could only say sincerely, "Miss Audrey, thank you for your generosity. Your honesty makes you look even more beautiful." As she spoke, she untied the thin string around the envelope and saw the bills inside. It was a uniform grey paper money with black stripes. As the stack was thick and exuded a special smell of ink, one that left one feeling refreshed. 10 pounds. She took one out and checked its value. Beside her, Force, who appeared lazy and unbothered by money, had also leaned over. This at least, observing the thickness, she figured out how many notes were there. She couldn't help but exchange looks with Force, instead of surprise in each other's eyes. It's probably £1,000, right? It's obviously a lot more than they had imagined. Others smiled and said, a total of 800! Whoa! That's insane. That's... If Klein was working £10 a week, that's an 80-week salary. All of £800. Decide how you will split the money between the 2 of you. I mean, Chio is definitely gonna get her sheriff potion now. Very sorry, this matter had placed you in danger. £800? No, there's no need to apologize. Even if you had to do it again and knew the possible consequences, I will still accept the request. Even if it's divided evenly with my savings, it's enough to buy the potion formula for sheriff. Shio was slightly taller than 150 centimeters, again height mentioned. Stared blankly at the notes in the envelope, wishing she could pull them all out and count them over and over again. She believed that the generous and beautiful Miss Audrey wouldn't pay them any less, but what if she had a mistake counting? Everyone makes mistakes at times. She raised her right hand, paused for a few seconds, then silently lowered it. The corners of Force's lips couldn't help but rise as she said wistfully, "It is even more than the royalties I've received from my Stormwind Mountain villa so far." Really? I'm guessing the book is famous, but not as famous to make £800, right? Should I praise Miss Audrey or laugh at the poverty of an author? She added silently. Clint, who was sitting on the sofa, was also a little envious, but it wasn't directed at the trio of fours, as Viscount with a fairly good financial situation in £100 wasn't a large sum. What was envied was Audrey's ability to hand out money without feeling the slightest burden. Ahem, Viscount Clint cleared his throat. If you can get the formula of apothecary... Oh, it's not the apothecary yet, I forgot. If you can get the formula for apothecary, I will also provide you with substantial payment. Oh. Rather like cake for Chio and Force. Well, do your best, Chio answered without any hesitation. Then he looked at Audrey. We have recently come into contact with someone who is suspected to be from Psychology Alchemist, and we're still able to clues regarding the spectre potion you're looking for. Okay. Chio, I'm now that the sequence 8 far stronger than you. Audrey smiled in a reserved manner as she said, I'm looking forward to it. That said, that the four began chatting about various rumors belonging to the Beyonder Circus while following Audrey's example of finding books they wished to read. Suddenly Chio's eyes lit up as she saw 2 hardcover books. History of the Lowen Kingdom's aristocracy and study of coat of arms. Meanwhile, Force also found books that interested her. Geography and people of Basic Empire and traveling to the northern continent. Okay, interesting. Honorable Viscount Clint, may I borrow these books? I'll return them soon. Chio looked pleadingly at the owner of the study. Clint nodded without much care. No problem. This response Force hurriedly made a request as well and similarly obtained his approval. The corners of Audrey's mouth curved into a faint smile as she witnessed all of this. She looked modestly of the side, being to be looking for a book. At first, when you said apothecary, I meant that apothecary from Tingelfield Classes. Yeah, I meant the Clint because I remember he wants the apothecary potion. But yeah, that guy's also out there somewhere. He moved again, by the way. I feel like he's gonna come back to the story soon, right? There's no way that there's never gonna mention of him again. As a qualified spectator... The corners of Audrey's mouth curved into a faint smile as she witnessed all of this. She looked modestly on the side, pretending to be looking for a book. As a qualified spectator who had just advanced, she had accurately grasped Trio and Force's preferences in certain domains after being in contact with them multiple times. Thus, she had made arrangements in advance without anyone realizing it. Oh, what a coat Audrey is, man. And the one being guided feel like it was done of their own will was a manifestation of the powers of a spectator. In the evening, Shio was curled up on the sofa in front of the fireplace reading history of the Lowen Kingdom's aristocracy under the Castellan's illumination. Force had gone for a gathering meant for authors. After reading for quite a while, she suddenly felt something strange about the hardback cover, so she carefully examined it and found an interlayer where an ancient piece of paper was hidden inside. Roselle's diary? Roselle's diary? This is our ticket to the Tarot Club. Imagine Clint just has a fucking page of Roselle's diary, man. The front side of the paper was covered with a special symbol created by Emperor Roselle. And on the back was paragraph with an Ancient Hermes. There we go. Ancient Hermes though, wait, what does it say? Viscount Clint, ancestor deciphered some of Emperor Cecil's symbols. She was excited. She logged to decipher the Ancient Hermes as she murmured silently. The fool that... Oh, Audrey did that. Fucking so smart, man. So fucking smart. How smart was Audrey? How fucking smart is Audrey? For real. The fool that doesn't belong to this era, the mysterious ruler of the gay folk, the king of yellow and black wheels. Oh my god, how fucking smart is Audrey, dude. I was so oblivious, just like Shio. Oh my god, I know, like, she probably will. She probably will. Wow, what a fucking chapter. I can't wait for them to join, by the way. It's gonna be so exciting. Anyway, 1 second. I guess we're gonna see next chapter Shio get questioned by Klein, or at least Klein like looking at Shio and checking her out. Anyway, we read 7 chapters, 219, 220, 221, 222, 223, 224, 225, 7. So we're gonna look at some art and then we're gonna go sleep, okay? There's some art. Ooh, what's this? Ian. Oh, Ian is cute. Red eyes. Yeah, isn't red eyes really rare? Like in real life as well? Huh. Ian has one of those like cool hats they are to wear all the time. I'm not gonna keep you up for long. That's cool. Ian is cool. I want to see more of Ian. There's still like 2 favors that Ian has to do for clients, so I guess we're gonna see what those are in the future, right? Oh, this is Backland. This is... Oh my god, look at the fucking smoke here, man. Where's the fucking smoke? There's also like what is interesting about Backland is that there's a lot of like smoke and smog in the air, right? So I feel like everyone is gonna get cancer, dude. Just teasing you. Aww. Who is this? Wait, who is this? Is this Bella? Nightwalker? Ian again. Ian is so cool. The lady is the one who's how Sherlock gonna live in. Ah. Oh my god, I thought she was older. I thought she was... This is the landlady, by the way. I thought she was gonna be older, like, I guess she's mid-30s. No. This is mid-30s. Never mind. Yeah. This is her. Miss Mellon. Yep, exactly. Sherlock and Force. This is a very stubble. This is not a black beard. I guess this is a... Damn, he looks so fucking different, though. Doesn't Klein look so different? Right? But I think it was said 35. It was said like mid-30s. So she does look mid-30s, to be fair. But look at Klein, man. He looks so freaking different. He looks so cool with his stubble as well, dude. I want to see him with like a big black beard, though, as a laborer. Oh, and Force. Is this Force? They made Force so cute, man. Force is more like elegant and like womanly, not cute, I think. That's how I imagine Samuel. I see. Isn't like a nickname for like children though? This is Force, yeah. Taiwan version. Jürgen Cooper. There's art for Jürgen Cooper, guys. And there's a black cat. It's like a brown cat, but yeah. Art style different, yep. Yeah, I mean, it's up to fuck, I can't even speak, bro. Anyway. Great chapters. I'm gonna end here. Tomorrow is 31st, and then it's gonna be the 1st of January, so I'm not gonna stream in those days. But we'll definitely stream more this week. I'll let you know beforehand. If you haven't joined the Discord, it's pinned. And I'll see you soon, okay? I hopefully you enjoyed this like late stream. I don't usually stream this time, but yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you for coming. Bye bye.